You can wake up at 5 a.m. every morning and do a cold plunge and meditate and do that. But if in the world of business, you can work super hard, but if it's not against your advantage, you're just wasting time.
Do you want to know the secret to success? Welcome to rulesforsuccess.com, a platform that unites the accomplished and the ambitious. We're here to arm you with the invaluable knowledge of individuals who have paved their own path to success. And now let's get into the show with dynamic host Joseph Varghese.
All right, Joseph Varghese here, rulesforsuccess.com. I am grateful to be interviewing Dennis Yu. Dennis and I connected 6 years ago, pre-COVID, at a marketing event in New York where he came to. His main office where he's based is in Vegas, Las Vegas. He has a company called Blitzmetrics, and he's up to some amazing things in the world with what he's up to, especially as it relates to marketing and business and numbers. He is the CEO of Blitzmetrics, a digital marketing company that operates with a dual focus on providing high-level consulting and training the next generation of marketing professionals. At the heart of his work is his personal mission is mentorship, something I'm also passionate about too, where he leverages his extensive experience to help individuals from all walks of life grow their digital expertise. We'll talk about that and this million number that I've heard too on other podcasts that he talks about. Dennis, how are you today?
Good, Joe. It's been 6-7 years since we got together.
It's been a while. It was a very memorable experience. I got on stage at your event. You invited each of us to declare our mission, and you recorded it, and it was captured and posted on social media soon afterwards. And then COVID hit. like 4 days later, COVID hit. We weren't allowed to go outside. That was very memorable, the event. Your knowledge was extraordinary. I mean, there were things that myself and a colleague of mine, one of my best friends who's a video marketer, attended, and he started applying, and just really extraordinary knowledge. What got you into the world of marketing? Like I know you and I are about the same age, I believe. I'm pretty sure we are from what I've researched.
I'm 51.
Yeah, 51 also. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And to what got you into the world of marketing? And you got involved early, right? You like San Francisco early. Talk about that journey early on.
I was one of the first people at Yahoo. So this is now about 30 years ago, believe it or not. And I was really good at math as a young adult. And I competed in math competitions and flew around. And I found that lent itself towards what today is programming of different sorts and building websites. And, I'm Asian. I think Asians have an advantage in math. And I found that being able to compute and being able to just understand in a mess of data what web page is doing the best and why one ad is doing better than another ad just seemed like I was the only one in a room full of people who had no flashlights who had the flashlight. And thus it just seemed kind of obvious to me, like why people's businesses weren't working online. And this is before any of this internet marketing stuff. It was just geeks like us that were building websites. The internet wasn't even a thing. So
you were neighbors where you worked. You were neighbors with the guy who created Gmail, and you were constantly associating with other high-level people, like luminaries early on, pioneers, right, in the space. You were constantly around those people, correct?
Yeah. Peter, who created Gmail, he was at Google, and our other friend Peter Elahaugi, is the one who did instant search at Yahoo, which then Google copied, and then Bharat Devanathan did a lot of the backend for Gmail. I was one of the engineers that built Yahoo Personals. And there's like 3 of us that built the dating site off of nothing. And Brian Acton and Jan Koum were working on these we would play Frisbee twice a week. Jan was working on stuff like horoscopes, and Brian was working on the PPC platform, which back then was the integration of Keyline that was Overture that became Yahoo Search Marketing, which eventually Google copied for part of conversion optimization for Google Ads. Those 2 then started WhatsApp, believe it or not.
Wow.
And that was, I hadn't seen them for a while. I knew they left Yahoo. And then I saw them one evening at dinner. I'm like, Brian, what are you doing? You're doing this WhatsApp thing? What is this like texting thing? Why are you building this texting thing? How is that going to be anything? And then, of course, what happened with that.
Yes.
So it was really cool being around these other people because they're just normal people. Like Jan Koum, who's like this big, oafy Russian guy, he would just foul me when we would play Frisbee because I could outrun him. So I had scratch marks on my arms because he would foul me to try to me from hitting the frisbee. And then Brian was a good handler, meaning he's like a quarterback in frisbee, and he could throw it, and he could like position people and call out different plays. And so I knew these guys on a personal level. We would go out to the Indian barbecue in Sunnyvale, or like this all-you-can-eat Indian buffet, and have chicken tikka masala and all that stuff.
That's my language. Yeah, chicken tikka masala, saag paneer, all of
Yeah,
that.
I mean, just like all that. So I knew these people. I didn't realize that was an advantage, because when you see these people all the time,
Yes,
they're just people that you know. Like David Philo would roll up in his broken. But David Philo at that time was the richest man in the world under 40, and he'd roll up in this gray 318 Benz. It was all rusted, and he still lived in his old Stanford dormitory. And he would ask me, like, Dennis, what do you do this weekend? Like, well, I ran a marathon, or I was planning, because I was doing all these adventures and things like that. When you have a job that allows you to, as long as you can open up a terminal and fly anywhere, it's like, I'm planning on going to South America. I want to check out the ancient, Mayan ruins and stuff like that. And I remember, for example, I mentioned, like, we're training for this Hood to Coast challenge relay. It's like 100-mile relay event.
yes,
And 6 or 7 of us here would like to do it, but it's kind of expensive, because you have to pay this fee, and you have to charter, you have to have a van. There's like all this stuff you have to do to be able to operate one of these relays. And he said, oh, well, why don't I sponsor it? And you can be, because you guys are running the Yahoo Running Club, why don't we just have it sponsored by Yahoo? And then he paid for everything.
Love it.
Paid for the ticket, paid for the van, the entry fee. And so I never wanted to be that guy, because like when we would be having dinner at the Indian buffet, for example, people would come up and say, hey, I got an idea. I want to pitch you on this idea. And I forgot, like, oh, I'm hanging out with the richest man in the world under 40. I would never ask David for money, right? I would never ask these guys for stuff. But it was like understanding how they think. It's sort of a woo-woo thing, but being around these folks and seeing how they think and how they solve problems translated into other things. I think it made me a better engineer. I was just a terrible engineer. I sucked so bad. But I thought they'd fire me my first day on the job, right? But they kept me, and they even thought, like, we were a small company then. So I would, Monday morning, I would be taking a pee or something, because I'm drinking coffee and then I want to pee.
Yeah.
And one of these guys, like a David Philo, would like be at the urinal next to me. And when you pee, you're not supposed to talk to the other guy. That's awkward.
Right.
Like, look over and say, like, hey, what's going on? I'm like, I don't know. I'm peeing, But it's neat, because just being around these other people leveled me up, and helped me be a better programmer, right? And then this over the next 25 plus years, these things came into play, like your phone could take photos and videos. There are apps on the phone like that. We were doing this before any of that happened, right?
Yeah.
Before, like the phone, you could just text people. That was it. Not even, most people didn't even have a phone, because that was a big deal, right? But then as this thing shifted, and people talked about mobile marketing and local retail marketing and digital this, and now we're into like, then it went to influencer, and then crypto, and now it's AI. Like every couple of years, I've seen the flavor change.
Yes.
But for me, Joseph, I've been in the same place the whole time, the last 30 some years. I've just been an engineer looking at the data. And people give new names to the same things, which are just computer programs that get smarter and smarter. And then they hype it up because they do coaching, or they want to sell you some course or program. And then people like me look at this and say, like, maybe I'm just old fashioned and I don't get it, but it looks like the same thing to me, but just different words.
It's all about data. Yeah. It's all about the data. Curious though.
So like incredible too. Because, I speak at all these conferences on AI this and AI that, and countries invite me to come speak and teach their people. And they call it whatever the word is. Hey, can you give a thing on AEO? Like I spoke at a conference yesterday in Miami on AEO and this and that. And I just gave the same fundamental talk, same stuff that I've always done for 30 something years. And people are like, wow, it was amazing. They're like on top of, Dennis and Stephen Spencer and Sam Woods and these other people. I don't want to name drop these other people, but like, these are like the best when it comes to optimizing the rank in ChatGPT. And then Steph and I had, lunch yesterday, and we're like, it's the same thing we've been doing. It's just another search engine. If you understand how a search engine works, how is this any different?
So how are you? So a couple of things you touched on here just now. Of course, the people, the connections. We believe in the idea that we rise to the quality of expectations of our peer group, the people around us. We rise, no matter how we think of ourselves. There's no choice but when we're around these people, and they expect us to show up. That's the whole basis for the community I lead, Success Circles. That idea. So I love that. And then you talk about math and numbers, and most entrepreneurs are not looking at their numbers, right? So we have people in our audience who run businesses, and they're actively looking to scale to add another, 4 or 5 figures to their bottom line each month.
Yeah.
I know the world you're in is marketing, right? And numbers mean a lot, right? And a lot of these are heart center
I'm not in the
entrepreneurs.
marketing world. People have just said that I'm in marketing, like whatever you want to call it. I've been doing the same thing, which is optimizing based on numbers.
Got it. So
The systems are different, but the math is the same. The math
how
is
would you,
never
what would you frame what you do? So it's math, and that's your background, and you did all these
different.
great things over the years. Would you frame what you do with Blitzmetrics?
When you're a Chinese guy who's good at math and you win math competitions, like I was fifth in the nation in math counts way back when, which is crazy. You realize that any equation is just an optimization function. So
Yeah.
let's say my buddy Cody Jones, he just sold his funeral home for a lot of money. And he came in, he didn't know anything about funeral homes, even though 5 generations of funeral homes, like he got into the funeral home industry because his dad died and he was doing other stuff. And then his dad's dad, like they were, the whole family owned, it was a funeral home thing that they kept in their family. And he came in knowing nothing about the funeral home industry. And he thought, these guys are old and stodgy and boring, and there's lamps and it's dreary. I mean, yeah, it's a bad thing when someone dies, but the experience doesn't have to be this gloomy kind of, dark lit backwards kind of thing. So he said, well, what kind of experience do we want? So we went to high-end hotels and other resorts, and he built a new facility and grew that to multiple locations and then sold it to private equity because he looked at the data of what consumers wanted, especially folks who are under 30, right? And they need to prepare something because mom died. And the typical funeral home owner is late 60s.
Yeah.
And their model is, I'm going to do stuff the way it was for other people that were born in 1960.
Right. Exactly. That whole
Well, they
model.
never adapted. They never looked at the data. They didn't understand the internet. I spoke at this conference, the big one for the national funeral homes. I was their keynote speaker. They paid me a lot of money to do that whole thing. And I was explaining, you need to be where your customers are, which they're now on Instagram and YouTube, and they're asking ChatGPT stuff. And meanwhile, you're still doing the yellow pages and still doing referrals, and which referrals are great, but you're not using these other channels because your customers have aged out, just like you have aged out. So Cody saw that coming not from the funeral home industry, being one of the youngest funeral home owners, because everyone else is super old, right?
Yeah.
And he simply looked at the data. We helped him look at the data to say, when someone types in, cremation cost and green funerals, because a lot of people, instead of wanting the coffin, which is like not very, because you pump the body full of formaldehyde, and that's not a very eco-friendly kind of thing because it's in the ground and all that chemicals go into the ground. They want to have a celebration of life. They want to have it at the beach where people come in and tell stories about so-and-so. They don't want this gloomy thing where everyone's wearing black. How does that, right?
Exactly. I want to be a tree when I die at some point. So they have this opportunity to be a tree, and they kind of bring you into the tree. So instead of putting in a casket, that's my whole thing. But you're right. There are these people who are eco-friendly, who are out there, who are searching for this, and it's catering to that audience. And where are they searching? And all that matters. When maybe they're using AI.
So it's being open to the data. So all of those folks who are like watching, they might think like this funeral home thing has no bearing on me. No, it does, because whatever industry you're in, what advantage do you have? Right? Joseph is doing fractional AI coaching. Well, last I checked, everybody is an AI coach. What advantage do you have? What's the differentiator? What kind of relationships do you have that you can leverage? Because I guess in school they call that cheating, but I consider that strategic advantage in business.
Absolutely.
So use the data to figure out, and ask ChatGPT, just like Joseph was asking Perplexity, okay, we're going to spend time talking with Dennis, and what should we talk about, not talk about? He's using Perplexity and whatnot to leverage strategic advantage. So what's your advantage? How do you leverage it? It's literally, I've been doing that same thing the whole time. But
So,
There's just a
so,
lot of data. People get hung
so,
up on the technical details of getting there.
so AI is here. So, we talk about, you mentioned just now, I talked to Perplexity, asked questions. I was driving and talked about you and what to talk about, what topics. And my team also did the same thing through Anthropic, the Claude. It's a very
Mhm.
similar thing. And then they put their notebook LM. There's a lot of data. There's a lot of these engines out there that are working.
Yep.
And you mentioned AEO before. AEO is kind of like SEO, but it's like it's about
It's all nonsense. Like you can jump from tool to tool. Every day there's a new tool. Oh, what about OpenClaw? And what about LLM?
yeah,
And what about Opus 4.6 from Claude? Isn't that better
exactly.
than
Yeah,
5.3 Codex? But 5.3 Codex has a larger token. Like you can
you can
waste
get
so
lost.
much time. Oh, there's
Yeah,
AEO and GEO and AISEO and this and that, and you'll just be dizzy trying to chase all that stuff.
exactly. And eventually, you have so many choices that you just don't do anything because the paradox of choice. You have too many options, and you just
Yeah.
bonk out, which is what most people do. Or they
I
hire
get
somebody to do it, and
clarification. People come up to me all the time at these conferences. They want, well, what about this? And what about this latest tool? And what about, Anthropic just raised $30 billion yesterday. And NVIDIA said they're not going to sell $100 billion of chips to OpenAI. What do you think? And that's all noise. Because I
it
look
is.
at, okay,
Mm,
great. What are you doing? What is your
mm,
strategic advantage? How are
yeah.
you leveraging the tool to amplify that? And if
Yeah.
you're not taking action, what you're spending all this time shopping and do no implementation. That's the problem I
Yes.
see.
Yes. Amen. Execution is everything, right? And it's proper execution, right? It's not like guessing and doing dumb things, but it's execution, getting out there. We're big believers in
Against your
that.
advantage. Most people aren't executing on their advantage.
Hmm. Yeah.
You can wake up at 5 a.m. every morning and do a cold plunge and meditate and do that. But if in the world of business you're not you can work super hard, but if it's not against your advantage, you're just wasting time.
Exactly. Precisely. So you preach about this. You preach about simplicity too, and measurable return. And like, what are 2 to 3 moves do you feel that a small business can tap into to create 80% of the results?
So if a small business, if you have a clear ICP, ideal client profile, you know
Hmm.
exactly who you serve,
Hmm.
and you have been able to replicate that result over and over again. Could be a
Hmm.
product or service, whatever it is. You can replicate that against a very narrow audience, not everyone on the planet, right? But
Hmm.
Cody did it for funeral homes. Marco Cipolla has SaaS software for HVAC companies. I mean, that's
Hmm.
super niche.
Hmm.
So Marco has software that HVAC companies put on their website that gives
Hmm.
consumers a quote because people want to know what's it going to cost when my air conditioner is broken. Like, answer a few questions. Your price range is 14,000 to 16,000. Like, that's
Hmm.
very specific. Then it's easy to multiply that. Then and only then, once you know the advantage, once you're super clear on exactly who you serve, which is a strategy question, then you can use your favorite AI and say, okay, gather all the proof. So
Yeah.
with HVAC quote, we have 150 HVAC companies that are using our software, and we can prove how much extra revenue they're generating every month because
Hmm.
they're generating the quote. We track the quote all the way to how many calls there are, and then we track it to whether we close a job or not, and we sell air conditioners and not, right? So we can
Hmm.
track the incremental revenue, so people have no problem paying the $349 a month,
Yeah.
which is a no-brainer. Then all the
Yeah.
other HVAC people talk about it. Then at the HVAC conferences, they talk about it. So you would look at this and say, all right, well, who exactly do I serve? Is there proof that I've done this multiple times? Where are the conferences? Where are the podcasts? Who are the people that are super well known among that group? And if you do good work and you create a podcast around that, or you interview your customers, or whatever it is, like that natural word of mouth and reputation flywheel gets super concentrated. And then and only then do you think about Facebook ads and ranking in ChatGPT and ranking in Google and all the sort of channel, Instagram and like all that's fantastic. Sure, Google ads, all that fantastic. But all these other pieces have to come first before you go
Yes.
into amplifying, right?
Yes. Yes.
So I,
So
I've been in Groundhog Day the last 30 some years because people, they jump
hmm.
straight to the cool, shiny object or,
Yeah.
oh, Dennis, you spent a lot of money on Google and Facebook ads. Can you look at my campaign? And I'll look at their stuff. I'm like, okay, let's back it up. What's the stuff you're amplifying? And then how does it go back to your strategic advantage? And they
Right.
always miss, especially guys who are less than 20 million a year. They usually
Hmm.
have multiple businesses. They're not super clear on exactly who they serve. The worst are the people who are in coaching
Yeah.
or consulting or e-com or personal development because they're trying to serve everybody.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
there's only one Tony Robbins, right? There's only one LeBron James. Not every person who plays basketball is going to become LeBron James, right?
Exactly.
So
Get very specific on who you're trying to serve.
yeah.
And I think the metaphor of like throwing gum in the ceiling, see what sticks, right? And that doesn't really work anymore because everyone now has access to AI, and some people are smarter using these tools, and other people are. And you got to know that, and you got to like know your numbers and get very specific. And I mean, I ask people too, like, who do you want to serve? Who excites you? And who pays the money too? On top of that, are they willing to pay you for your services? And how do you get more of those people? Because if you stay
If
in
they
your
do
zone of
less than a
genius,
million a year, they'll try to say they serve everybody because they think the broader
yeah,
the more audience they serve, and the more products and services they offer to that audience, the more money they can make. And everyone that I know who's doing really well, like 20 million plus a year, they have narrowed down on riches and niches. Like Tommy Mello started garage door stuff. He was a garage door technician. He answered the phone for people who had squeaky coils in their garage door.
hmm,
And he was the one driving his van around, fixing garage doors, installing garage doors. That was 14, 15 years ago. Now he's at $300 million and he's in 27 states and he has 1,000 employees. And
incredible.
he owns A1 Garage. He's the garage door guy. He didn't go into HVAC and plumbing and electrical and landscaping and pest control and all the other stuff. He could have been a handyman saying, I'll do anything for your house, right? No, he's like, the garage door. And he became the garage door guy, right? Colonel
Yeah,
Sanders did fried chicken. Colonel Sanders didn't
exactly.
do hamburgers and spaghetti and
Exactly.
whatever.
Stay in
Yeah,
your lane. Yeah, got it.
yeah.
So if the goal is to make the phone ring, what's the fastest path from zero to first leads in 14 days, would you say?
If you have proof that your customers love you, then you can interview them in quick little Zoom calls or whatnot, and then you
Yes.
boost that. In other words, you post it on YouTube and Facebook or wherever your customers are, and you run the dollar a day technique, which is super simple. You and I did this at the
Hmm,
CMO Club. That was the workshop that we taught.
that's right.
Super easy. The algorithm does the work, and then the algorithm will find other people that are like those people. So when HVACquote.ai started and had only one or two initial customers, I gave Marco some of his initial customers because he said, "Hey, I built this software for AI, AI software for HVAC companies."
Hmm,
Okay, here's an HVAC. Here's a friend who runs a big HVAC company. He can try your software, right?
hmm,
And give it to him for free. That's because he's your guinea pig, and it worked. And literally, we took those videos, and you'll see if you look on the internet for HVACquote.ai, he and I were making videos on this whiteboard, zero prep, zero scripting, saying, are you an HVAC company? You're losing 98% of the traffic of people who come to your website and they leave. And you might have
hmm,
paid $50 a click to get someone to that site. Well, what if you could double the number of people that actually become leads?
hmm,
Double the number, and if
hmm,
that and then you double the number of customers, and you actually increase the close rate because you even gave them a range on what the price will be
hmm.
for fixing their air conditioner, right? Would you like to try this? It's month to month. This is how it works. Here's other customers that we have. And literally, we did that in a 1 minute video. Raw. I even stuttered. You can watch the ones like on YouTube and Facebook. I stuttered like, hey, Marco, why should HVAC companies show their price? And he says, well, because this, and that. And I'll say, now, who's this working for? And who's it not working for? Well, it's companies that are like this and not like that. And so I just interviewed him. We chopped it up into different pieces.
Right.
Then we spent thousands of dollars on ads, and now he's at 150 customers. And we did it on my freaking iPhone. We did walk and
Incredible.
talks at different conferences, and
Yes.
other people think they have no idea. They
Yes.
see this example and other examples that are like that. It doesn't matter what the industry is. Like we've
And you
done
meant,
this in so many industries.
I
And
watched it.
literally,
Yes.
it's what we taught at the workshop when we were together in New York, right?
Exactly.
Have
And
proof that you do the thing, be able to get to the point within 1 minute. In the first 3 seconds of a video, if you're making
yes.
video, most people don't even make the video, so they're dead in the water there. But when you make the video, in the first 3 seconds, be very clear. Hey, HVAC companies. Oh, it's
Yeah.
obviously HVAC companies.
Yeah.
Like, well, hey, anyone on the planet who wants AI coaching? Okay, skip. I'm going to scroll
Hmm.
past that. It's literally that. And then that's how you generate leads. It's not some magical software prompting thing and the AI will now cause you to rank. And no, it's just being super clear
Be
about who
very
you are,
direct and
about proof that
clear.
you have, interview
Yes.
other people in that industry, but you have to
Yes.
stay in that industry, right?
Yes. Yeah.
That's what it is.
That's great. So and in another session that I saw you lead, you talk about the data, the video data. It's there. And versus like when you use these tools, like we use Opus sometimes and other tools to kind of optimize and cut things up. But a lot of that data gets lost in the process of that. And when you're like running ads and putting things out there, these social media engines look at that data and the underlying information with videos. Would you say it's accurate?
It, what matter? Okay,
First,
so if you are a chef, you're Gordon Ramsay, and does the knife really matter? Switching between, like, do you think if Gordon Ramsay switched to a different knife, or he had some 99-cent Walmart knife, do you think you and I, Joseph, with the fanciest knives and fanciest kitchen, could beat
no,
Gordon
no,
Ramsay with the
no,
99-cent Walmart knife?
no,
Should we obsess about the knives?
probably not.
How about the
Right.
quality of the ingredients, right? So
Yeah.
if
Yeah.
the ingredients are quality,
Yes.
then it's very easy to figure out what the winners are. It's very easy. You can use whatever tool. People are like, what about this tool and that tool? I
Hmm.
don't care, right? LeBron James wearing flip-flops could beat all of us in basketball. Even if we have the latest $200 Nike shoe that is light and helps you jump higher, right?
Right. Right.
It literally goes back. Now, the exception is entrepreneurs who are over $20 million. That for some reason that seems to be like where things change, and they have
Hmm.
teams and they can optimize and fine tune and scale and all that. But if you are not in that $20
Hmm.
million per year space, I guarantee you it's a fundamental, it's a super simple fundamental that you are missing. Not let me jump on the latest Claude, whatever. I
Yeah.
guarantee you that's not it.
What's the dollar a day strategy? You mentioned that 6 years ago. I know it's something you believe in. Like
It's a testing
targeting, great.
methodology.
Yeah.
Yeah, you put out 10 pieces of content and one of them will win. And you and I could guess at what we think the winner will be, but we're almost always wrong.
Yeah.
And so you just
Exactly.
let the data tell you.
Tim Ferriss with the 4 Hour Work Week. It's 2007, did the same thing. He ran a Google Ads to it, and he had a different name for it initially, but the data told him that the 4 Hour Work Week. That's what people click on, and
Yeah.
it's not difficult, right? You just put a few dollars down, right, toward that thing, and
Yeah.
get
And you don't even
interview your
calculate.
clients.
You don't need any math. People
Yeah.
say, well, Dennis is really good at math and all that, and he can see the hidden matrix green line patterns. Like, no, you put $1 a day for 7 days against each video or each ad. So it's $7 you're spending on each thing. If you have 10 things you're testing, it'll cost you $70, right? And one of them, for some reason, people will stay and watch longer. And it won't be
Yes.
close. It's not like it's so close you have to calculate to the decimal point. It'll be very obvious. One does way better than all the other ones where people stay. So in a 1 minute video, we would like to get to 90% watch time. So if people
Yeah.
don't make it 90% of the way through, then there's something wrong. You didn't capture their attention. You don't have enough credibility. It's not clear who exactly you're servicing. Most people, I mean, think about the average ad you see on YouTube or Facebook. And like the irritating autoplay ad where you have to like wait 5 seconds and then you can press
Hmm.
skip, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
How often do you press skip? How often do you watch? So if it's a 1 minute video, how often do you watch it to the end? Do you think?
I I usually, if I'm forced to watch the end, then I
No, not
usually
that you're
like,
forced. You can skip after, let's say, 5 seconds, but it's a minute long video. How often do you actually stay and watch to the end?
well, I enjoy the content. So if it's engaging, I'll watch it at the end to see what they're doing. I'll break
But
it
how
down for
often? Percent, 0 to 100. What percent of the time do you watch on average to the end?
40%, I'd say.
Okay. So
Yeah.
that means that YouTube or TikTok or whatever the algorithm
Hmm.
is 40% of the time able to find something that you actually found worthwhile. Like it
Yeah.
can learn based on that. That's the whole thing about TikTok and YouTube, right? You watch some stuff, then it starts showing you stuff that's a good recommendation for that, right?
Yes. Yes.
Well, if we know that's how all the platforms work, then we want to create stuff that has social postage against it. Like we're paying for distribution, but it's not an ad. It's actually helpful, it's useful, it's interesting. And
Hmm.
that's the disconnect that most entrepreneurs don't get. Is they think an ad is sell, 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 buy my stuff now, it's on sale. Like that's not it. It's be interesting, be credible, share how you do stuff, be helpful.
Yes.
And then when people watch to the end, then the algorithm, like YouTube or TikTok or Facebook or Google or whatever, will start showing 4 or 5 more things that are kind of like that, right? Because it's
Yeah.
learning what that user likes.
Right.
And then
Yes.
TikTok, Facebook, YouTube, whatever, will start showing stuff related to, oh, this guy actually has a service. Maybe I can hire him after I've watched 3 or 4. You ever have that thing where like on YouTube, you learn about some new thing and then you watch 4 or 5 videos from that guy. You go like
Yeah.
deep
Yeah.
into that. Like you didn't know who that guy was, but the first one you saw was so interesting. You subscribed to the channel, and then later you found out that they had a
Pixel
service.
run.
Like, oh,
Yeah.
I need to sign up for their thing. I need to buy their thing,
Yeah.
right? That's the people call that a funnel, or there's other names for it, but I call it simply just training up the algorithm on who exactly you serve, lots of proof, lots of relationships, mainly mid-funnel content,
Yeah.
mainly how to helpful content without ever selling. Ironically, when you do that, that's what drives the sales. And yet if you try to push for a sale, buy, it doesn't work. So there's this weird ironic flip-flop there.
So content engine versus conversion engine. We talked about creating content. You mentioned the gentleman who came by. You created a 1-minute video. So how do you separate both? And where does the average founder break the chain?
The average founder doesn't even have that helpful content. If I were to Google you or ask ChatGPT, who's this guy? Is he credible? Does he have proof? Does he differentiate? Or you could ask your favorite AI, who's the number one guy when it comes to this thing? And does it recommend you as the number one guy? If not, it's not because you're not asking the right prompt or using some secret software. It's because you don't have the evidence that you're the top guy. So Marco niched all the way down to quoting SaaS for HVAC companies. He didn't say a price calculator for anyone who wants a price calculator on the internet, a calculator on how much you need to spend on meat every day if you want to try to lose 10 pounds or do a carnivore diet. Like that's a calculator he could have built, but he zeroed it all the way in. And then it's very easy to figure out what the winner is, right?
Yeah. And I love the idea of blitzing, right? The name of your business, and you have like different directions, content coming in, and right. So it's a matter of you got testimonials and reviews, and you have websites, and you have maybe PR listings, things of that sort, all coming together toward kind of having AI, right, or AEO, or however you call it, now see you as the authority and recommend you, right? And that's a key thing these days because people are less using Google searching; they're using now Google AI searching or ChatGPT or whatnot.
Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Whatever. People love saying, oh, there's this and there's that. Now people are going to this other channel. Like, you know what? I have friends that work at Google, and we've talked about this before ChatGPT launched. They already built all this stuff. As you know now, from the last few weeks, they were sitting on this stuff the whole time.
Yes.
They could have launched at any time.
Yes.
The whole like AI answers and like all these SEO people and AI people are freaking out because AI mode is swallowing up a lot of the search stuff. 5 or 6 years ago, I asked my friends at Google, why don't you release it? You already have all this stuff. And they said, because it's not time, because, and I even told you this in New York, because it hurts our earnings. Because people are still using search. That's what they want. So if we give people this AI consolidated, it's just a consolidated answer, right? Instead of the 10 results, they digest it and then they give you the one consolidated answer. They said we did that and our ad revenue went down and people didn't like it. They weren't ready for it. So they're waiting until people were actually ready for it. Steve Jobs didn't have the first mobile phone. He waited until all the other people screwed up and he's like, here's the iPhone. Right? And now Google's eating up market share. They have the TPU advantage, like all this kind of stuff. They've had it. So it's so funny that all these people, they only see like 6 inches in front of them. We know exactly what's going to happen. And yet they're surprised. For example, I'll tell you now that OpenAI is basically dead. People don't know that though. What? No, they have 80% market share. They have 1 billion monthly users. I know. But if people watch this and then they come back a year from now, 2 years from now, they're going to see that it is an X.AI and Google game.
Yeah.
Those are the two players. Yeah. And I think in 3 years from now, you're going to see, unless something drastically happens, in 3 years from now, the top answer engine is going to be X.AI. And the number one place to look for information is not Wikipedia, it's going to be Grokpedia, which is going to be renamed Encyclopedia Galactica.
It's fascinating. I've heard this as well also.
If you know, you know why that is, right? Most people don't look very deep to see what's actually going on.
Where does Meta fit into all of this? I mean, they have Facebook and WhatsApp and Instagram. So where does Meta fit into all of this, you think?
They're left out of this dance because they don't have, I mean, you saw Apple, they tried to build their own. They tried to
Hmm.
build a car that didn't work. So they said,
Hmm.
screw it. We're just going to partner and have Google do it.
Yeah.
And they were enemies.
Yeah. Yeah.
Apple and Google, they had
It's
this big
fascinating.
lawsuit you saw
It's
3 years
fascinating.
ago. They hated
Yes.
each other. And now they're partners.
Yeah.
And Siri is
Fascinating.
about to be powered by Google. So then, I look
Fascinating.
at this and Facebook's going to have to choose because Llama was super cool 3 years ago. Everyone
Hmm.
said Llama is the great open source option. All these
Hmm.
guys built stuff on top of Llama, saying how much cheaper it was. And I even wasted some time messing around with different Llama
Hmm.
versions, the larger and smaller models. But okay, well, now, how often do you hear about Llama now? How
Really?
likely is,
Yeah.
is Zuckerberg going to pour another $20 billion into Llama? And
Right.
yes, they're building nuclear power plants and trying to get more compute and trying to get more chips, but they can't win that game because they literally can't get enough power and chips and tell their convince the shareholders they can invest in model building. They can't. So they
Be
are going to have
interesting.
to partner with
Yeah.
either X or
Yeah.
with Google. I mean,
Yeah. Oak
those are
Rock.
the two choices,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Yeah. Google or X. Yeah. Be interesting to come back 6 months from now and re-listen to this and see where things are at because there's so many things changing and partnerships
Yeah.
and things of that sort. So it's hard to say. It's hard to say what the power play will be. So for a small business, let's say doing 10 million a year, and they're struggling at this point,
Yeah.
what's the simplest thing they can do to reactivate or simplest reactivation campaign toward getting more traction?
Well, if a $10 million business, is it a marketing issue, an operations issue,
Hmm.
a pricing issue, a strategy issue? When someone goes into the
Yeah.
emergency room and they're in pain,
Let's say it's marketing.
we need to scan their stuff
Yeah.
and see it. We need to take the
Yeah.
MRI, take the blood and all that. And then we can say, oh, Joseph, it looks like you have a broken collarbone, or it looks
Yeah.
like I have a heart attack. I have a heart attack. I need a heart operation right now. Oh, okay. Well, maybe, but let's look at your stats. Oh, it looks like Joseph, you have heartburn. You had spicy Mexican food.
Hmm.
You don't need a heart attack. Or you don't need a heart operation, right?
Yeah.
So, prescription before a diagnosis is a malpractice. All these people
Yes.
love coming to me saying,
Yes.
what should I do?
Give me a pill.
Well, my
That's what you
recommendation
want.
is take the sugar pill.
Yeah. Hmm.
Take the same medication that your grandma takes. Yeah,
Yeah.
but your grandma has a different condition than what you have. You should take the thing that's
Hmm.
relevant and specific to your situation, which is
Hmm.
start with your data. Based on your data, here's the thing that will solve that particular problem. We call that
Hmm.
metrics analysis action, right? It's a
Yes.
generic, intelligent way of solving problems. But that being said, the average $10 million a year business usually has a visibility problem,
Yeah.
meaning that they have happy customers, but that's just not visible
Yeah.
on YouTube and Facebook and ChatGPT. And I can almost always say that that's going to be true, but we can verify that's the case. And you can even ask your favorite LLM, is that true or not? Say, you're Dennis Yu, and you're going to evaluate my marketing data and whatnot. And here's my data. Don't upload your QuickBooks, but upload other stuff, right? And say, what do you
Yeah.
think? And it'll say,
Yeah.
like, yep, you're not ranking in Google or Facebook or YouTube or whatever, because here's the proof of how you actually take care of your customers, but it doesn't exist on X. It doesn't
Yeah.
exist on YouTube. You don't even have an Instagram for your business. You don't have, and so the AI can take that proof and repurpose it, which is what we talked about, Content Factory. The AI can be your marketing agency and repurpose it to all those other channels. You don't have to hire the marketing agency anymore.
Exactly.
The AI can do it if you give it the ingredients and then you tell it how you want it to be done.
So don't you have an AI apprenticeship program that you run?
We do.
So
And
tell
a
us
lot of
about that.
business owners, they like this guy yesterday, Peter, he has someone, not his son. It's often they bring in their sons, which is great because you can trust your son versus some marketing guy or whatever. But he brought in this guy, Bill Parker. And Bill Parker is doing it for their bankruptcy attorney company. He's doing it for, they had like 3 or 4 other companies
Hmm.
that are in their portfolio of businesses. And Bill Parker is crushing it. He's rebuilding websites. He's interviewing the different people, the founders of these other businesses. He's running YouTube ads. He's like doing all the stuff.
Hmm.
But even though it's just Bill Parker, it's like he's got a team of 10 people because he uses the agents that we have built that all of our AI apprentices use. And I just love seeing Bill and Marco and Ethan Vandehei and Danny Liebrandt and like look at all these other folks. They are kicking so much butt, and it just makes me smile because these are kids that they say, I don't want to go to college. This is stupid. This is not how things, like back in your day, yeah, you did that, but things are different now. And they're just crushing it. And they're doing it on behalf of their dads often. And then they start an agency. So like Ethan Murphy, he started out as he wanted to be an influencer. I don't know how old he is, 22 maybe. And his dad runs a landscaping company. And Jason Murphy hired all these other marketing people. It was a disaster, got burned by the last 3 agencies. That's what they all tell me. And he said, yeah, I have my son, Ethan. He doesn't know anything about AI and digital marketing and whatever, but he can figure things out and he's motivated and he's not an excuse maker. He takes action. Can he join your program? I'm like, well, yeah, that's all we really need. Like they have to be not scared of technology, right? And they can follow through and not make excuses. And every Friday they have to turn, like today, I'm going to see tons and tons of reports that come in because every Friday is when everyone turns in their reports. I don't have to look at the reports. I just love to celebrate. It's like opening Christmas gifts, even though we have managers and that kind of thing. And so Ethan, he started this 7 months ago, maybe 8 months ago. He did it for his dad's business, crushed it, right? Made the phone ring for landscaping, for Christmas lights, for like all the stuff that they do.
Yeah.
And then 7 other landscaping companies, because his dad's a landscaper, so his dad knows all the other landscaping companies.
They hired him.
Yeah. And now Ethan has an agency serving all these landscaping companies. And his first customer was his dad. I love that, right?
It's incredible.
And now
incredible.
Ethan is on the podcasts of these other people in the landscaping space talking about, oh, this is how I implemented Dennis's $1 a day strategy. This is how we fixed all these websites from all these SEO people that ripped us off. This is how we're using ChatGPT because we built these agents that repurpose content that, do all this and that, right? To turn the ads on and off. And Ethan's got a whole team of these people. There's humans, but then there's ones, we named them Christopher, who does local auditing. We created Jennifer, and Jennifer does articles based on location service pages. We have Omar, who does like link building. So we've created all these guys, and then all of our folks can use these agents that we built. Like they even created a Dennis, but they made him black for some reason. I don't know. Maybe they thought that's funny. But I love seeing these AI apprentices are crushing it. And then we charge $7,500 for a year, not per month. That's for a year. And then they all collaborate amongst themselves. We build tools. If any one of them gets stuck in some way, for sure in our group, there's someone who solved that problem before.
Exactly.
And it's just so cool seeing these guys win. I feel like they score the soccer goal, and I'm the old dad and I win when they score. It makes me so happy.
I love that mentorship is a core driver for you. And how you built this together and you've really built a community around this. So how do people find out about the AI Apprenticeship Program? So let's say someone's watching this or something, they've got a kid or they're looking to delegate, leverage this to a family member or to someone out there who's an expert in this area who might be younger. How do they tap into this program, either hire from it or join it to learn from it? Is it through Blitzmetrics?
Go to highriseinfluence.net.
highriseinfluence.net.
All there. Highrise. So that program is actually run by Jack Wendt, who is 20 years old, believe it or not.
Love it.
This guy, I feel like I'm now that old guy. Yeah. Where you remember, like when you and I were young, we would teach our parents because the power outage would happen and the VCR would blink 12 o'clock. And then we were the ones who could figure that out, and they just couldn't figure it out. They couldn't figure out how to program the TV remote or whatever, right? And then we just it's like obvious. This is what you do. This is how you plug the cables.
And that's still me. That's still me sometimes too. Age 51. Love it.
But now I see these kids that just wow. I cannot believe
they're sponges. They're born. They're born into the AI.
Is 15. I mean, whatever. It's like born with an iPad or naturally AI, whatever you want to call it. But like this kid, Grant Haugen, is 15. He's 15 years old and he is repurposing content. He's turning those things into books and making them Amazon bestsellers. He's created different agents that do these different things. And I would put this 15-year-old against any of these other people that are 50 plus. He'll crush them. He's 15. Absolutely. How is that even possible? He just, it's like, I'm in the process of trying to explain to him, okay, this is how we're going to do this stuff. He's like, and he basically politely shows, no, I already know how to do that. What?
Yep.
I didn't even tell you. No, it's obvious. You just go like this and like this and like that. Oh, okay. Yeah, you're right. I'll shut up. That's awesome.
I love it. I love that mentorship is a core part of who you are, principally. It's great. we're about to close at the end of our podcast. We're kind of ending the at the hour point. So Dennis, give us one rule or one or two rules for success that you live by.
Find someone who's done the thing that you want and follow them. But you have to be clear on what you want, because then you have to find someone who's done that particular thing. And that will solve all your problems, because someone who's already walked the path, they can just tell you what to do and coach you.
Incredible. Yeah. Believe in that wholeheartedly. It's a lot of how we operate in our community. This has been exceptional. I really enjoyed this episode. If we had more time, we'd go into sports and leadership. And I know you're on track. Part two. We'll do part two at some point. Yeah.
Let's see how people react. Let's put the stuff out here. Let's see how the success circles react. And then we can learn from the data on that and figure out what to talk about next.
I love that you're data driven. Even in the shirt I'm wearing, it's all math and heart. So basically lead by math, engage heart, and make things happen. Yeah. This is fantastic. Thank you, Dennis. Tap into Dennis's work, Blitzmetrics, and also your apprenticeship brand again. What is it again? Repeat that.
Yeah. HighRiseInfluence.net.
HighRiseInfluence.net. Tap into this podcast, the episode, the mind map summary of it. And also we're going to run Notebook LM toward the content of this. You can ask questions to it, look at other data and other things that Dennis has done, all at rulesforsuccess.com. Thanks for being here. Have a fantastic day.
That's it for today's episode of rulesforsuccess.com podcast. Join us next week for another inspiring conversation with a successful entrepreneur. Until then, remember to be bold, be courageous, and go after your dreams.